Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session for a client that wanted to lose weight. And this particular client was unlike a lot of clients that I work with in the sense that the vast majority of their eating choices was already really good. So a lot of the low-hanging fruit of, let's say, someone that eats lots of processed food or eats very large portions or snacks all the time, that wasn't really the case with this particular client. So she was already making a lot of the right kind of choices. So therefore, if that's the case, that someone generally is making the right kind of choices and they're still not losing the level of fat that they want, well, there's only a couple of things that you can do. You can either further reduce the quantity, and it's easier to do that by closing an eating window than it is to reduce the actual portion for the meals, also known as intermittent fasting, because it trains the body to burn fat over a longer period of time. The other thing is that you increase physical activity, and that can create the two things that you need in order to really lose body fat, which is a calorie deficit and a low insulin environment. In this particular hypnosis session, I use a metaphor of an invisibility blanket. So if you've seen things like Harry Potter, for example, where he has this blanket and he's invisible, most people get the idea of a metaphor of an invisibility blanket. But I want you to think that eating processed food or refined carbohydrates, and therefore having a high insulin level in your blood, puts an invisibility blanket over your body fat. So your body doesn't realize that you have this amazing source of energy that it could take. When, however, you reduce the amount of processed foods, you reduce the calories that you eat, and you have a longer period of time where you're not eating, so a form of intermittent fasting, what can happen then is it lifts the invisibility cloak blanket from your body fat, in which case your hunger goes down, because then your body actually has this ability to feed on the energy that is already there in your body fat. That's also used as a way of thinking about missing breakfast. So rather than missing breakfast, the body's simply taking the energy from the body fat rather than consuming it from food. And then there's this idea of panning out, zooming out and thinking, what kind of difference does this make over a longer period of time? And if the average breakfast is about 500 calories, well then over 150 days, that makes a dramatic difference to the level of body fat on a human. And it's these small changes over time that is really powerful and profound. I work with a lot of people to help them lose weight. The hypnosis really gets them thinking of things in a different way. So the right strategies, the right belief systems, and feelings of resourcefulness that they are able to take more control over their choices. So if you feel like you might benefit from my background, my experience in helping people lose weight, from the thinking side of things, the actual thought process, beliefs, there will be a link in the show notes that you can schedule a free 30-minute call with me. For now, though, you might find that this invisibility cloak, this invisibility blanket metaphor is really helpful for you in terms of thinking about your body fat in a new way. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close. That's it. breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation and just exhaling tension, enabling you to feel that it's okay to let go of that tension. I want you to imagine that you're a detective looking for clues of tension in your body. The clues might be holding an expression that doesn't need to be there, bodies in a particular posture that isn't naturally relaxing. I want you to get a sense that as you breathe in and breathe out, any clues of tension, by noticing the clues, you're unlocking the tension in that part of your body. So as you breathe in and breathe out, allow it to be released and feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. Continue to breathe in and breathe out, and just get a sense that your mind is accessing the part that normally influences things without conscious control. There is a part of you that enables you to blink whenever you need to blink, to breathe whenever you need to breathe, that makes sure your heart beats and your food digests, and you don't have to do anything. Your body just knows how to do it all by itself. And maybe you've wondered how on certain days you can walk without thinking about moving one foot in front of the other. You can use your hands to do complex things without even thinking about it. And that's because your unconscious mind likes to automate things whenever it can. Once those neural pathways are there, your unconscious mind can make so many choices for you, freeing up that cognitive capacity for you to think about the more important things, new things to learn, new things to do. And I wonder if it helps to think that your unconscious mind is autopilot and your conscious mind is manual control. And so many areas of your life, autopilot is doing exactly what you want it to do. But every now and then, autopilot will be encouraging you to do things that are steering you in a direction that isn't helpful or isn't useful. But just know that at any point in time, manual control supersedes autopilot. So if you feel like you're eating too much of something, you can take manual control and just stop. If someone offers you something that you would normally say yes to, it's fine to change your mind, even if you've already taken a bite. Because when you use that conscious control to undo an autopilot reaction or response, you are breaking a pattern and creating a new neural pathway. And maybe you've heard of a phrase called neural plasticity. And I want you to get a sense that if for some reason you lost one of your senses, like hearing or sight, your brain would rapidly create new neural pathways in order for you to make sense of the world. If a hand just stopped working one day, you would rapidly create new neural pathways to be not dependent on that hand whatsoever. And sometimes when things happen, you encourage your brain to find a solution. So if you just decided consciously that the time that you have your first meal of the day is lunchtime, to begin with, your brain is wondering, where is this thing that it normally has at 7 or 8 in the morning? But new neural pathways are created, new biological responses adapt, to the extent that hunger won't even start until lunchtime. The stomach gets smaller. And most importantly, when you sleep, your insulin levels drop. And when your insulin levels drop, an invisibility blanket is lifted from your body fat cells and the energy stored in them. Which is why when you sleep, your body can start spending the calories in your biological bank account. You have the energy, but your body can only access the energy when insulin levels are low. And when they're at the lowest, isn't even when you sleep. It's the following morning. Because the following morning might be 10, 11 or 12 hours since you last ate. And when insulin is low, your body produces ketones. The energy released from body fat cells that your brain treats very similar to sugar. Ketones are the clue that you are feeding on your own body fat. And I want you to get a sense that if you didn't have breakfast in the morning, that you're still getting breakfast. I want you to get a sense that there are two sources of energy for your body. Energy from food and stored energy. And I want you to think about a savings bank account and perhaps money that goes into your account from your job. Money is still money, whether you take it from your savings or from your current account. And energy is still energy, whether it comes from your food or whether it comes from your body fat cells. So if you chose not to have breakfast from your food, your body would simply take breakfast from your body fat. And over just a day or a week, you wouldn't notice the difference. But over weeks and months, your body feeding on the energy in your body fat cells for breakfast over weeks and months would make a radical difference. Because it comes down to the laws of energy. That energy can't be created or destroyed, simply transferred. And therefore, your body needs energy to move, to think, to breathe, to walk. And therefore, if it doesn't get it from your food, it will simply take it from the stored energy in your body fat cells. And you could imagine that your body fat cells are a fuel tank of energy that is always available so long as you have body fat, but only accessible when there is low insulin in your blood. And therefore, if the goal is to lose weight, the real way of thinking about it is to spend the calorific bank account you have stored on your body. So when you eat less food, your body will simply take more from your body fat. And when you do more activities like lifting weights, swimming, or even using a TRX machine, you're training your body to take the energy from your body fat cells. I want you to imagine that you're in a place of work and someone offers you a snack. Doesn't matter if it's a chocolate bar or a malt loaf, a cupcake or a biscuit. I want you to get a sense that each and every time you choose not to have that, from a biological perspective, it's just as valuable as doing the equivalent calories in a gym. A slice of bread with a topping like butter is about 150 calories. 2 slices of bread, about 300 calories. So imagine you could do about half an hour of exercise every day, not by doing exercise, but simply deciding not to have 2 slices of bread. I want you to get a sense that you are unlocking the resources to make more and more choices conducive to training your body to burn fat. And the conscious, manual choices that you make will rapidly become unconscious choices. There was a time when you were a child that it took lots of conscious effort to walk. And now you can walk without thinking. When you were learning to drive, it took lots of conscious focus, dedication, thoughts, and how you can drive without thinking. And I wonder what conscious choices you can make over the next few days that will quickly become automatic choices in the future. Automatic choices that enable your body to burn more fat, for you to become healthier, leaner, and more confident. Choosing to have your first meal of the day at lunchtime doesn't require discipline and willpower forever, just for the first few days, just long enough for your body to adapt. And when it adapts, it becomes easy. I want you to imagine that you're driving to work and you're seeing a jogger, maybe jogging in cold or wet weather, and thinking how much discipline and willpower they have to jog in that weather. Or you could entertain a different idea, that it only took the willpower and discipline the first few times to jog in cold or wet weather. When it's the 17th time, they're doing that on autopilot in the same way that you're driving the car on autopilot. It's just a natural, automatic response. And I wonder how many healthy, natural things you can train your autopilot to do all by themselves. I want you to imagine that it's 154 days in the future. And I want you to imagine that every day for the last 154 days, you've decided to start your day eating at lunchtime, having the same breakfast, but just a few hours later. And imagine that 154 days of missing a meal has led to 77,000 calories worth of body fat being taken and used as breakfast instead. And I want you to imagine you're standing in front of a mirror, perhaps in a gym, and seeing how different your body looks simply by one tiny choice that took conscious effort to begin with, and then became automatic, and then became effortless because you wouldn't even start thinking about food until lunchtime. And if you can see your body has changed shape in a positive and powerful way, just let me know by nodding your head. Small things over time is called evolutionary change. And I wonder what conscious choices you could make that creates unconscious choices that evolves you, your body, your confidence to the desirable levels that you seek. Unlock all of the resources so that you see your body fat as a store of energy. You see the food choices you make as either hiding your body fat under an invisibility blanket or lifting that invisibility blanket. Training your body to see body fat as just a fuel source that it had all along. Looking for opportunities to be more active. And realizing that small conscious choices become unconscious habits which radically change your body shape and confidence levels. I want you to imagine returning to the present, listening to my voice, allowing all of these thoughts and ideas and changes to come with you. And I want you to imagine that a child wants to ride a bike, but they don't have the confidence to ride on two wheels yet. So imagine a parent put stabilizers, those training wheels.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.